So I'm beginning a new phase of my life today. I'm embarking on a momentous journey. And I'm looking at some of these little baby faces here. And, life moves forward. And you have to jump into things before you're 100% completely ready. And I'm certainly glad that I waited till I was a little bit older to have a child, because I wasn't ready when I was young. I had some growing up to do still. So I feel like I'm more ready than I used to be, and maybe nobody's ever completely ready for the responsibility of a new life. But my wife and I have a new baby coming, and that's why I'm not with you today in class. And I wanted to send you a couple of messages before, my day got going full speed, why I had a moment. First thing I wanted to do is I wanted to share the cards with you guys that you turned in on Tuesday. So some of what people shared, and then some questions. And then after that, we will do the staying on point. We will do the staying on point. So here we go. I learned how to upgrade the RAM and learned some more things inside the case, such as ports, RAM, motherboard. And then the question, how can I protect the software for a long time? So protecting the software, how do you protect software on your computer? The best way to protect your computer is to make sure that you keep your operating system up to date and also keep your antivirus software up to date. So if you go down to the start button and you type into this little search window right here, update, right? We have a Windows Update right there. And Windows Update, you just want to make sure that your updates are set to automatically check for updates. And I see that I have 45 optional updates, no important updates available, no updates are currently selected. Where does it show me? Check for change settings right here, change settings. It'd be nice if they showed it to us on that window. But my settings say install updates automatically, recommended, and install new updates every day. And so you just want to make sure that that's turned on. And then you also want to make sure that you have antivirus software. It's a little bit hard to talk about computers with all these babies looking at me. All right, so antivirus software is just, you'll have some sort of antivirus software. And here I have antivirus software. And you just want to make sure that your updates, so I'm going to go into settings, and you want to make sure that your updates are set to run automatically. So if you keep your antivirus software up to date and you keep your operating system up to date, that's going to help protect your software and protect your entire system. And the reason you need to keep those two things up to date is with your operating system, people are continually finding little holes or little flaws in the operating system because it's a big and complex program. And so they release updates to sort of fix those little holes people might have found to infiltrate computers or whatever. And that's an ongoing battle between, the operating system manufacturers, the software companies that make them, and then the people who like to hack in order to gain information or whatever. Black hat hackers, the bad guys, the criminal hackers. And then your antivirus software is always running. There are always new viruses being released into the wild, onto the web. And so your antivirus software needs updates so it knows what to look for. And so that's why you want to make sure your antivirus software is being updated. My interest is who killed the electric car. I'm looking for more information on that. So if you go to YouTube, right, I believe this, I've already talked about this movie with one student in class. But if you go to YouTube and search for who killed the electric car, that's a documentary that came out for everybody else. And so you can watch that documentary. And you could also, so who killed the electric car trailer, you could also go to Wikipedia and search for who killed the electric car, and you can read about it there. And then the other thing which I recommend is, again, at YouTube, there is a documentary called The Corporation. Documentary, full movie. And you can watch this entire movie. Let's see. The Corporation, full movie, chapters 1 through 23. So it might be if you just do The Corporation stuff, full movie, the corporation. I guess that's the best one right there. And you'll be able to watch the entire, is this it? No, it's only a minute 53 seconds. Complete, here we go. So the corporation complete. Will that take us there? So probably that 1 through 23, but that's another really great documentary along the lines of Who Killed the Electric Car. And so be interesting for you to look at. I learned a lot about computer software. Too much. I'm not sure if I really get it. Also, Apple has Aperture. Is that better than Photoshop? I haven't worked with Aperture, and I do know Photoshop is amazing and super powerful. And I would stick with Photoshop. It's pretty much the industry standard for image modification, image editing. Today I learned about Todd's coding system. How does the zeros and ones coding system work? So for understanding how the 0 and 1, coding systems, the way coding systems work is they're just arbitrary. So I could create a coding system for anything. So I could say when I hold this one up, I want everybody to clap. And when I hold this one up, I want everybody to raise their hands in the air, right? So this is clap, this is raise your hands in the air. Ready? I'm going to hold one of them up. I want you guys to do it. Come on, if you aren't doing it, do it, do it. Come on, do it. There you go, that's good, right? And then, yeah, there we go. And then hold your hands up, get your hands up, come on. Even though I can see you, this is a two-way video. No. Get your hands up, very good. All right, now let's do it quickly. Right, so that's a coding scheme. We just said, hey, this is equal to clapping, this one's equal to raising your hands in the air. Likewise, I could have said this is equal to the letter A, this is equal to the letter B. And so I could have, started coding out A, B, B, A. And now I just, sent you the code. Well, let's do it, all right? This is A, this is B, all right? So what band am I referring to? I referred to the band ABBA, right? Because I went A, B, B, A. So I was referring to the band ABBA with my coding scheme. My coding scheme. So there's ABBA. Anyhow, that's how coding schemes work. And we do that with zeros and ones. And we just arbitrarily create coding schemes. And there's some, main ones that are out there like ASCII coding scheme, so you can read about that at Wikipedia. And there's also EBCDIC, and there's also ASCII Unicode. There we go. So it's Unicode. So those are 3 coding schemes for text. And we have coding schemes for images, we have coding schemes for sound, we have coding schemes for movies. Today I learned what Alt-Tab and Control-X do. What is hardware and software? So hardware is anything that's physically hard, like this is hardware. And software are all the zeros and ones that run on hardware. And one of the ways we define a computer is made up of hardware and software. And those two pieces need each other. Hardware doesn't do anything without software, and software doesn't do anything without hardware. So hardware is anything that's actually physically hard. And software is everything that is all the instructions, all the code programming. What is your favorite thing about being a computer teacher? That's a good question. What is my favorite thing about being a computer teacher? And it's a deeper question. What is my favorite thing about being a computer teacher? I was actually lying in bed last night thinking of this question, and I had some great answer when I was in bed in the middle of the night, and I don't know where that answer went. But, okay, so this is what I was thinking last night when I was in bed. Like, why do any of us do anything? And so you're asking me a question about myself, and we are actually just as big of a mystery, even to ourselves, as anything else that surrounds us. We live in a mystery, and we live in a mystery, and we are a mystery, because we are part of the mystery. We don't know where we're coming from. We don't know where we come from. We don't know where we're going. We don't even know where we are. And I know some people have beliefs. Well, I came from heaven, and I'm going to go back to heaven. Or I was in another life, and I'll reincarnate. Like, there's all kinds of different belief systems. But those are belief systems. They're belief systems, right? It's like it comes down to faith. right? It's not like we know. And there's a difference between faith and belief and know. And so when you ask somebody about themselves, when you ask me about myself, my head kind of goes quickly to a really mystical place of like, who am I? Who am I really? And that's actually, many spiritual traditions say that that's the greatest spiritual question ever. Who am I? Who am I really? And we are a mystery to ourselves. There's ways in which we do not even know ourselves, which is kind of strange if you think about it. Like, how can I be a stranger to myself? Who is it that is discovering me, right? How can I be discovering who I am? And we discover ourselves all the time. We learn new things about ourselves, or we have insights into ourselves we didn't know before. And so what is it that, what is my favorite thing about being a computer teacher? When they actually study what is it that made people teachers, like, what are there certain personality characteristics which, lend themselves to people being teachers? And one of the personality characteristics which lends itself to people wanting to be teachers, like teachers, politicians, and preachers, I think, I don't know, there's one other one, but they are people who have a personality characteristic where they want to be seen. So we go through a psychological development phase in our life, and you hear kids say it, where they're all like, look at me, watch, look at me. And we need a certain amount of sort of like getting that aspect of our psyche, our psychological makeup filled up. And so people who didn't get that filled up quite enough, I had two really busy parents, and I was kind of a latchkey kid. And so, my own speculation about myself is that I didn't get that filled up quite enough. And so one of the things that led me to teaching when I was younger was that, I was really sort of drawn to this thing where I wanted people to like, look at me and have people pay attention to me, because when I was a kid, I used to just come home and watch TV, and I didn't get enough of that. Now that I'm older, I feel like I've gotten enough of that, and actually my wife's been awesome with that. Like, I'll be out changing a sprinkler or something, and my wife comes out and she'll just sit next to me and watch, and she's like, wow, that's amazing, where'd you learn to do that? So she's really sweet that way. But, so on a deep unconscious level, we're all drawn to do things because, we want to have certain needs met. So that's like one of my speculations about why I became a teacher. But what is my favorite thing about being a teacher? Why I became a teacher, and what is my favorite thing about being a teacher? I also became a teacher because I was working my day job, and I'd work 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, and then I was adjunct. I was being an adjunct instructor out at Fresno State, and I was enjoying being an adjunct instructor at night and working with students at night more than I was enjoying my day job 8 to 5. And so my day job kind of actually came to an end. The company I was working for in 2000, and just at that time a position opened at City, so I was like, I like teaching, so I'm going to do my teaching. Hey, Pop.
Hey, Dad.
And this is my dad. He was also a teacher, so that had something to do with it. All right, I'm going to pause this for a second because he needs his cell phone because he's getting on the road. All right, so what was I talking about? Being a teacher. So I also probably became a teacher because my dad was a teacher, and I saw that kind of going on when I was growing up, and I just kind of learned it by watching, seeing how he worked and what he did, and that kind of, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And, today what I really like about teaching is I like seeing the light go on in people's eyes. I like helping people. And, it's nice to be able to be in an occupation where I'm contributing and I'm making a difference, a positive difference to others. And so I get a sense of value and worth from, being able to give people skills which are going to be useful to them and which they'll use for the rest of their life. And so you'll always carry, part of the information that I've shared with you, and it will help you for the rest of your life. And not only just teaching about computers, but teaching life skills, so study skills and things like that. And, staying on point, being able to focus on things. And, one of the things I really like is there are lessons I wish I had learned when I was young. And sometimes people tried to share them with me, and I wasn't ready to learn them. But I think those seeds got planted, and then over time, they germinated and came to fruition. And so I see my job partly as planting seeds too. So even if you don't necessarily get all the lessons now, sometimes you will get them later. And also you will get some of them now. You will get some of them, a lot of them now. And so that's great to help people. And of course, I like the work environment of academia. I was sharing with somebody yesterday that there's two types of jobs. There are process-oriented jobs, and then there are results-oriented jobs. And process-oriented jobs really focus on the process of how something is done. So you got to be to work at 8, you leave at 5, it's Monday through Friday, you get an hour break for lunch. That's very process-oriented, right? Results-oriented is we don't care when you work, just make sure the work gets done and do it well. And so that's results-oriented. And so teaching at the college level is very results-oriented. And so they don't care when I work. You know, sometimes I'm working late at night, sometimes it's early in the morning. Like today, I'm not even supposed to be working, it's a day off, but you know, I'm making this video because it's results oriented and I want to make sure a good job is done. And so I like the fact that there's a lot of, because it's results oriented, there's a lot of flexibility in my schedule. You know, I have classes in the afternoons, but my mornings are free for prep and for grading and for learning new things and for putting my courses together, so I can do that at home. And I also have my summers free, and you know, it's a really nice schedule. So it's a great work environment, it's great to help people, it's good benefits, good pay, good job security, and and there's great flexibility. So I have a lot of flexibility and autonomy for deciding how I teach my courses. And so I really value all those things, and helping people, I think, is the bottom line. If you're ever interested, you know, about becoming a teacher, you could go to any community college district or any, you know, state university website or UC University, and you could go to their human resources. So I'm looking for, you know, human resources. Here we go, human resources. And then you could search for Control F, and I'm searching for salary because I want to look at the full-time salary schedule. And I think I shared this already. And just to give you guys an idea of what kind of potential exists to become an educator. But when you start out at Fresno City College in the State Center Community College District, you start out somewhere between $52,000 a year and $65,000 a year. That's your starting salary. And then after you've been there, you know, 30 years, you'll be making somewhere between $90,000 and $108,000 a year. So, you know, the pay's good, you got benefits, you have job security. You know, teaching at the K through 12 level is really important, but to do that you need your 4-year degree, and then you usually need a 2-year credential. To teach at the community college level, you need a master's degree. That's it. In some fields, the competition is, you know, more competitive, so you need a doctorate, right? Like in history, what are historians going to do other than teach, right? But in business, it's like a lot of people get business degrees and then they get paid even more to consult and work in business, so they don't go into education. So in the business area, if you have a master's in business, that's usually sufficient in the competitive job marketplace to get a job at a community college if you did well and you could talk well and you're good with people and things like that. So those are some of my thoughts about being a teacher. Thanks for asking the question, and I share all that hopefully, you know, not to bore you and also not just to be up here and tell you about Todd. I certainly don't want this to be a class where all you learn is about Todd, but the main reason I'm sharing all that is to share some of that life wisdom, which I wish I had gotten a little bit more of when I was going through my college education. And so hopefully that life wisdom will give you some insight into how the adult world works and the career marketplace works, and you know, how I've thought about what I do and how I got to where I am, how I found my occupation, and some of the things, you know, reasons I enjoy it. So what is a mainframe computer is the next thing that somebody asked. What is a mainframe computer? You're like, oh my God, this is going to be the whole class. I know, that's the way I'm feeling too. Categorize computers by size, right? Categorize computers by using size. So if we do that, list of computer size categories here at Wikipedia, the amazing online encyclopedia. And we have supercomputers, mainframe computers, and then we have microcomputers and mobile computers and others. But so supercomputers are going to be like what scientists use to do really complex stuff. right? Like there's a supercomputer, and they're pretty rare. You know, there's a couple in California. There's one up at Los Alamos Nuclear Laboratories. I think that's the name of it. I can't remember right now. And then we have mainframe computers, and here's a picture of a mainframe computer. It's not really that great of a picture, but you know, it's not as big as that supercomputer, obviously. But mainframe computers are going to be used to run large businesses. So like, you know, Shell Oil Company, Disney, I don't know, any large business, they're going to have mainframes. State Center Community College does not have a mainframe, right? You know, but we do have servers and, you know, larger computers, but just no mainframes. So these are all just different sizes of computers. Super's the biggest, mainframe's the next size down, and then we get to servers, and then we get to just normal desktop computers. Don't worry too much about the categories of computers, but it's also good to know these two phrases, the super and the main. Is there a goal with computers? I mean, is there a place that computers can get to where they don't have to keep updating? So this is one of the things about humans, is they have an unlimited potential for wanting things. And they also seem to have an inherent discontent, right? That, you know, what they've got is never good enough. And if you want true peace, here's the secret to finding peace. Why don't you just want what you have and not want what you don't have, right? Like if you could apply that principle to your life in totality, completely, to want what you have and not want what you don't have, you'll be at peace. Because peace is when you're no longer discontent, and discontent is wanting things that you don't have, wanting things to be different. You're discontent. I want them to be different. I want something I don't have. I want this thing I do have to go away, this unpleasant experience. I want it to go away. So often humans find themselves in this push-pull relationship with life, pushing away the unpleasant and pulling the pleasant towards them. And so, you know, is there a goal of computers someplace we're trying to get where they won't keep updating? Not so long as we're all still unenlightened. We're always going to want things to be better, different, more, faster, you know. So they're going to keep improving so long as humans are discontent. When do you think we'll have flying cars? I don't know, man. Flying cars, a long ways off probably, but you never know. We'll have to figure out like some anti-gravity machine or something first. What inspired you to try the focus technique in your classes? This is actually the first semester that I'm doing it, and what inspired me to do it is it's something that's really benefited me in my life. And there's a lot of literature, research that's been done over the last 5 or 10 years, like new research on mindfulness. So if you search mindfulness research, right, you get a bunch of stuff, and you could even go to Google Scholar. So if I go to Google Scholar and I search for mindfulness at Google Scholar, so they call it mindfulness. Spiritual traditions call it meditation. I call it staying on point, but it's all really the same thing. The benefits of being present, mindfulness and its role in psychological well-being, you know, and mindfulness education, right? In the classroom, a new focus on quieting the mind. Does mindfulness decrease stress and foster empathy among nursing students? The effects of mindfulness-based education program on pre and early adolescence well-being and social and emotional competence. Effects of mindfulness-based stress reduction on medical and pre-medical students. The support, education, and research in mindfulness. Evaluating distance education of a mindfulness-based. So anyhow, when they look at this though, they're starting to have a lot of really good success that being able to focus and stay on point or be mindful of what you're doing and to single task, not multitask, is really beneficial to everybody in all areas of life. It actually physically will change your brain. So they study people's brains who have done this for a long time. And there's more dendrites in the prefrontal cortex, whatever the heck that means. But this is like the area of our brain, which is like the newest and sort of the main area where the things that we do in life, you know, this is where the most important part right here in the front. And it's all important, but this is like our social, emotional, I don't know, I'm not a neuroscientist, but it's a really important part. And people who practice this staying on point mindfulness have more of that up here than other people. And so it's just something that's good. It's something that's good. And I'm a if it works kind of guy. So if it works, fantastic. So I've decided to start trying to introduce it. And it is foreign to our culture to be still and to focus inward and practice focus. Our culture is really about fragmentation and busyness and stimulation. And so learning to be that laser amidst all of the busyness, to be the still point in the center of the storm of a chaotic life, and to have that focus and know where you're going and just to move towards it directly is a really valuable, important skill I've discovered in my own life, and research supports it. So that's why I've decided to start teaching it in my classes. Today I've learned a new word I've never heard or seen. That word is ubiquitous. Today I learned that quizzes can be taken many times. I'm really impressed. I never knew I was going to learn how a computer works. Very impressive. I look to learn more about computers the next couple of weeks. I really need to learn to stay on point. I get distracted a lot, but day to day I will soon fill the bucket. Everyone is fantasizing about a zombie apocalypse. I love this card. But isn't it already happening? Everyone walks around glued to their phones, completely dead to the world around them. And then there's a little picture. Zombie people today, they're the same. I hope you can see that. That's awesome. Great card. Today I learned about options when sending an email, the CC and BCC options. I also wondered, what did they mean? The class is really helping me with computers. I always feared computers. Today I learned that Alan Turing was a code breaker who worked for England and helped break the Nazi Germany codes. He is known as the father of computer science. I never realized how useful Google Google Docs can be. It is going to help me a lot. Things I learned: RAM, random access memory, ports, USB audio memory card, IPOS, hardware, buses, motherboard, HDD, and SDD, and did an assignment on week 1 through 3 Google document. Today I learned how upgrading RAM can help your computer be faster and more efficient. I did not realize how easy it was to upgrade RAM. I thought I'd share this quote: success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Consistent hard work gains success. Greatness will come. Dwayne Johnson. Awesome quote. Alright, so I like reading some of the cards of what you're learning, because it's nice, I think, for you to hear what your fellow students are learning, and then that will, inspire you and motivate you and reinforce what you're learning, because you'll be like, oh, I learned that, or you'll be like, oh, I haven't learned that yet, that sounds interesting. And so I consider that cross-pollination, and it's part of the social component of our course, because there's the quiet time where we're individual, and then there's the social time where we're working together, because we are individuals who exist within a collective, and so those two parts are just part of the human dynamic. So I try to do individual stuff, focus, work, and then social stuff, hear from others, learn other people's names. So it's not only what you know, but also who you know. So those are some of my thoughts, a little bit of philosophy. Wish us luck. I need to turn this off so I could go be with my wife. Whoever's substituting your class today will now lead you, or actually you will need to lead each other, but we will now practice staying on point for 7 minutes this week. Next week I probably won't be there, and we'll practice it for 8 minutes next week, and the week after that we'll practice it for 9 minutes. I will continue to try to get the lecture videos out to you, and so that's my job. And I'll be working on that, even though I'm getting some days off here to be with my wife and my child. All right, I'm enjoying being in this class with you, and I wish you all luck on your adventures in studying while I'm away from you for these next couple of days. And make sure you stay on point, stay focused, and keep moving towards your goal of getting an education, part of which is learning about computers. Nice talking.